Welcome to 100 Yards of Football. It's football time in the state of Georgia. What a day, as it's going to get kicked off this Saturday. Our first college football game of the week is the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets taking on the Florida State Seminoles. If you like the video today, please comment and share it. Joining me to break down his former school, and he is very excited about Florida State this season, is my man, the legend, the 12-year vet, defensive back out of Florida State by way of the Atlanta Falcons. First round draft pick in the 1981 draft, 25th selection overall, my man, Mr. Bobby Butler. So if you enjoyed the video today, please comment and share this. We're going to break down Georgia Tech and Florida State. So, Brother Butler, this is the first season actually that I'm going to be doing games with a former NFL player and a guy who played at a high level on the college level. So all I can say is I'm very blessed to our listeners. And what we're going to do, we're going to have fun this season. So, Brother Butler, break down Florida State and Georgia Tech this Saturday in your old stomping grounds, Tallahassee, Florida.
Well, the good news, Vincent, we're going to be playing in Doak Campbell Stadium down in Tallahasee. It's going to be an exciting time. Let's start on the Georgia Tech side of the field. Georgia Tech is in their second year with their coaching staff. Jeff Collins is the head coach there, but his entire staff has had a lot of success throughout their career. They've been together for a few years. They were at Temple together, and now they're at Georgia Tech, trying to change the culture. The good news, Coach Collins this year, 2020 class ranked 26th nationally in his recruiting class. And that's the best recruiting class they've had since 2007. But if they can recruit this way for the next 2 years, it's really going to show some progress and show that they're going in the right direction. They're going to have to be consistent in recruiting that way the next few years. Now, here's the thing. They're still transitioning the program out of the triple option era. Now, that offensive scheme asks for a different style of an athlete. All right. So it's going to take a few years of recruiting to get it past that system, to get their new system in, to get the kind of guys they need for what they want to do. But let's go ahead and start, man. Let's talk about a little bit the offensive line. All right. So when you start talking about the triple option, Vincent, you're talking about a different kind of an athlete. You're not talking about big offensive linemen that are 6'4", 6'5", 310 plus pounds. You're talking about a smaller, quicker kind of a offensive lineman. So their average offensive lineman size was 6'1", 264 pounds, in that era. But they've got to change that. And also the quarterbacks that they recruited were quarterbacks that recruited to run the ball more than passing the ball, right? So now you got quarterback James Graham, who's, last year didn't have a good year throwing the ball, completed like 45% of his passes last year, but he's a good runner. And remember, it stems from the triple option era. That's all. He's just got to, get past those guys to build a program that he want to build. Let's talk about their offensive line. We talk about the size. They need to get size. They need to get better up front. They got to upgrade that. But this year, they had a grad transfer from the University of Tennessee named Ryan Johnson, and Kenny Cooper coming back is going to help them too on the offensive line. But remember, guys, Georgia Tech fans, don't get ahead of the game, right? They've got to build the program. It's coming. You got to take one step at a time, and you got to give Coach Collins time to do what he's going to do. All right? But in the running back room, hey, man, they got some guys. Last year, freshman Jordan Mason and Jamias Griffin, played really well in the running back position. So they got a good running back room. The wide receiver room, hey, they got some promise over there as well. Jalen Kemp returns from an injury. You got Malachi Carter along with Amarian Brown and Miami transfer Marquez Ezzard. They make a good mix now, Vincent, in that wide receiver room. That room right there is going to make them play faster. All right? But here's the thing. They got to have time in developing and changing the culture of their offense and their defense. Now, on their defensive side of the ball, we know Coach Collins is a defensive-minded guy. They run a 4-2-5 scheme. defensive scheme. Now, that is designed to give opportunities for playmakers on the second level to make an impact. So their linebackers, they're going to have really great linebacker play. Now, nearly all the players on their defense are coming back from last year. That's always a good sign. Now, they're led by linebacker, a kid I've been watching since he's been 7 years old, Mr. David, the franchise Curry, is their middle linebacker. He's a six-year player, and he led them in tackles last year with 97 tackles. And I'm going to tell you something, Vincent. This kid is a natural-born leader. He's a leader. So that's going to help them, get guys in position, and hopefully they can make some plays. Now, the guy that they got on their defense that everybody wants to avoid, and Florida State better make sure they avoid this guy, is free safety John Thomas. He's a playmaker. He can make it happen. All right. So we got to make sure we stay away from him. Then they have nickelback Charlie Thomas. Now, understand this. When you run a 4-2-5 scheme, the nickel is nothing more than a linebacker. So this guy had like 9.5 tackles for losses last year, which was pretty good. So then you add Quez Jackson, and Quez is a linebacker that supports the run extremely well. All right. And then in the secondary, they got Jahizio Lee, Antonius Clayton. Some of those guys going to booster it up front. But here's the problem. This defense allowed 432 yards and 32 points or more 5 times last year. And this team only has 17 sacks the whole season. So this defensive unit has got to be better, especially when you're playing against the athletes that Florida State is going to put on the field this Saturday. They're going to have to play. They're going to have to play well in open space, and they some kind of way going to have to get to the quarterback. All right? That's what they got to do in this game. Now, when we look at FSU side of the ball, welcome to Tallahassee, Coach Mike Norvell. Welcome. We are happy to have you in Tallahassee, and we're excited to have him because along with offensive coordinator Kenny Dillingham, these guys coach for big plays. Their offensive scheme, Vincent, they are a big play-minded coaching staff, and I'll tell you right now, they are going to be able to do that in Tallahassee because forget our records. I'll tell you one thing in the past few years, we have big play talent on this squad. All right? And then you add defensive coordinator Adam Fuller. He's got a veteran of guys on defense. He's got 10 starters back. Ha! I like that. All right? I like that. So, for me, Vincent, at the end of the day, there's some hope for Florida State. And I'm happy that we got the right coach at the helm, and we're going to do great stuff. So let's talk about the defensive side first. Now, we got one of our better players on defense. I'm going to say he's our second best player on defense. A young man plays free safety by the name of Hamsal Nazaruddin. He is a tackling machine, but we can't count on him this Saturday because he won't be in the game. He's coming back from a knee injury, and they're going to take their time with him. But that's okay. In the secondary, we also got all ACC Asante Samuel back. We got Marvin Wilson, who is going to be a legitimate first-round pick in the 2021 draft on the D-line. He's no joke. And then we got Corey Durton. He can flat out get after it, right? The other tackle. And then when you add to him Robert Cooper at the DN and Janarius Robinson on the outside, hey, listen, man, Denarius Robinson led the team last year in tackles for losses. One thing about him, he can get to the quarterback. He can penetrate the defense, the offense, and get to the second level. And then at the linebacker room, you had Emmett Rice. He's the leader, along with Amari Gaynor and Leonard Weiner. Let me tell you something, these guys. Let me say this about them collectively, Vincent. Them dogs can hunt. Them dogs right there, they can hunt. They're going to be barking this Saturday. I guarantee that, right? And then on the offensive side of the ball, We got quarterback James Blackman, who a lot of people on and off, Florida State alumni people necessarily didn't like James Blackman. Let me tell you something about this young man. He's got 28 games of experience. He's got a live arm, Vincent. He can flat out throw his ball, right? And so when you add the downfield ability that Norville's offenses look for, this young man's going to be making some plays this season. And then when you look at their wide receiver room, this is an excellent room. Now, we got a guy by the name of Tamarian Terry, who's a potential first rounder next year. He's a monster in the room. But then never forget about DJ Matthews. He's probably the most electrifying out of the receivers that we have. So they got playmakers on the edge. And then at the running back position, remember I always tell you about running backs. They're a dime a dozen, right? But we got a Texas A&M transfer in Jashawn Corbin. He's a speedy back who can go the distance from anywhere on the football field. So look for him to do special things this year in Tallahassee. Now, our offensive line, all right, is job number one for the new coaching staff. We've got to be able to coach these guys up, all right? This has been the Achilles heel for Florida State the last 2.5 years, is their O-line. But we got FIU transfer Devontae Love Taylor at tackle. He's going to be a special player. And they need to take that guy and take the rest of those guys who had experience the last couple of years and create chemistry. If they can get that chemistry matched up on the O-line, Florida State can really go to the next level. His first season, Coach Norvell's first season back. All right? So when you think about that, the playmakers that we have, here's what I'm going to say. All that being said, about the offense and the defense, 2 new coaching staffs on both sides of the ball, pretty much. Both of them trying to build a winning culture. Georgia Tech, Coach Collins, and Coach Norvell at Florida State. But FSU will win this game by 14 points. Hands down. And the only reason I can tell you they will, 2 reasons. Number one, we have the better athletes on the field. And number 2, I think our coaching staff really fit the kind of athletes that we have. And so I'm going to say that Florida State will win this game by 14 points.
If you like the video, please comment and share it. Brother Butler, you broke down the game quite elegantly. But now you know I'm finna take it to another level. A level like we do here on 100 Yards of Football. I'm going to start with Georgia Tech. As you said, Brother Butler, I like Jeff Collins. He comes from a good pedigree. He was on the Alabama staff, Florida, won at Temple. To the Georgia Tech Nation, please take your patience with him because it's very tough to go from a triple option offense to a pro-style offense. When he got on campus last year, his average offensive lineman averaged 6'1", 264 pounds. So now he brought over a couple of transfers. You just mentioned Brother Butler. Ryan Johnson, University of Tennessee, Devin Cochran out of Vanderbilt. So the offensive line is going to make an upgrade. The quarterback position is very critical. To me, that was the difference of them not really being more better on offense because let's be real, James Graham struggled. But they got a freshman that's pushing the door open. Jeff Sims that I heard in preseason practices look pretty good. They got some skilled people, like you said, Brother Butler on the outside, Malik Carter, Jalen Campbell players. At the running back position, I get mad with you, Brother Butler, because you didn't bring up the young man out of Rome, Georgia, Jamar Gibbs, who everybody in the country wanted. He almost went to Florida State.
That's right.
Now, when I look at Mr. Gibbs, he comes out of that area of Rome. Remember Larry Killebrew back in the day?
Oh, absolutely.
One of the top running backs in the country in 1978. Remember the guy down the road, Ronnie Brown out of Cartersville? So it's some water down in that area to produce good running backs. Now, that's who I'm looking to see on Saturday. On defense, you're right. David Curry is a player. I didn't know you've been knowing him ever since he was 7 years old. You kept that secret to yourself. But I like Trey Swilling. His dad was a great player at Georgia Tech. I think he's an NFL player. Georgia Tech has a lot of experience. They returned 17 starters. So I see an upgrade in that game. Now I'm going to talk about your school, the Nose from Tallahassee. I'm going to tell you what, ACC. After this Saturday, I know a lot of people talking about Clemson, a lot of people talking about North Carolina. But after Saturday's game, notice going to be taken down there in Tallahassee because y'all bringing a coach from the 901 by the name of Mike Norrell.
That's right.
And if you think he's playing, look at his numbers, what he did offensively at the University of Memphis. His first year, they averaged 38 points a game. The next year, they're 2017, 45 points a game. 2019, 42 points a game. 2019, 40 points a game. Now I'm going to tell you this. At the quarterback position, his first year, Riley Ferguson threw for 3,600. Came back, Riley Ferguson 4,200. 38 touchdowns. Mr. Norrell's third year, he changed quarterbacks, had Brady White, 3,300, 26 touchdowns. Brady White last year, 4,000 yards, 33 touchdowns. Now, looking at Florida State, they got a lot of offensive firepower right now. But I'm going to show another tidbit. Under Mike Norrell's 4 years there, he did produce NFL players. The young man, Anthony Miller, second-round pick of the Chicago Bears. My man, Tony Pollard, who's backing up Ezekiel Elliott. I think you heard of that name. Darrell Henderson, who right now might be starting on Sunday night against the Dallas Cowboys for the LA Rams. And finally, a young man that went up the draft boards, we've talked about here on 100 Yards of Football, that played right down the road at Eagles landed, Antonio Gibson. All those guys came out of Mike Norrell's offensive system. So before I get into Florida State, I want everybody to listen. The days of that offense coming back to Florida State is going to happen at 3:30 on Saturday afternoon. That's what I'm talking about, offense. The days of Charlie Wood, Amp Lee, Greg Allen, Peter Warren, Snoop Menace, Laverius Coles. It's finna come back. Pat Carter. Oh, I'm getting you hyped, Brother Butler, because I know you're feeling good. The days of Florida State finna be down offensively. Now let's talk about the Seminoles offense. James Blackman, I know a lot of people are not really been happy with him, but he's got a coach right now. So those numbers are finna go up. He's got an NFL-type receiver, Mr. Terry, I believe 6'2", about 220, can go 4'4". DJ Matthews faster than him, 4'3". The young man coming over from Texas A&M was one of the top running backs in the state of Texas, Mr. Corbin. I don't know how in the world, my man, the head coach at Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher, let him go. But he put him in the right spot. And then Florida State got that defense, another Texan in Marvin Wilson, who might be the best D tackle in the country. And Brother Butler, Asante Samuel Jr., you know how good his father was, might be the best defensive back in the country. So that's talent at Florida State. So all I'm saying is I'm riding with the Nose, 2 touchdowns, and I think Florida State is going to be the surprise team in college football this year. I'm not saying they're going to challenge for the national championship, but look for at least 9 to 10 wins because now they got a guy, Mike Norrell, much love coming out of 901, and Florida State finna take it at another level offensively. So that being said, I'm taking the Nogs by 2 touchdowns over Georgia Tech, and I promise you, come back and come at me, all you fans out there, that I was right, because it's going to be a hiatus in Tallahassee on Saturday from an offensive standpoint. And it was something I heard this morning on another show. Somebody on a major talk show here in Atlanta said that Georgia Tech was going to win the football game. Can you believe that? Come on, man. Stop selling tickets. You know who I'm talking about. You're on one of the 2 major stations here in Atlanta. That's not happening because now Florida State has an offensive coach and Mike Norrell. Look at his track record. I don't have to say the University of Memphis. You can go when he was under my man, Mr. Graham, out there at Arizona State, how explosive they were. So that being said, Brother Butler, your final words on Florida State and Georgia Tech.
Well, I tell you, first of all, like I said, we got 2 new coaches basically, and they're trying to build a culture. I think you said it right to Georgia Tech fans to be a little patient with Coach Collins. He'll get it done. I promise you. He'll turn that team around, and they'll be proud. But you got to give him time. I'm excited about Mike Norvell being in Tallahassee. You know, well, as a matter of fact, when they hired him, Vincent, I started looking him up. I went like this. Oh, thank you, Lord. You know, because I really believe that we're heading in the right direction. You know, we get our basic stuff down. We do have athletes, we do have players, and so I'm looking forward to an upgrade this season, and then I'm looking forward to getting back in the recruiting game and building our program the way it's always been built. I'm excited.
My final words on Saturday. It's been a long time in Tallahassee. This young man beside me, since I've known him for the last 8 months, he really hasn't been able to talk a lot of college football. But now, being with him the last week or so, he's very excited. And all I'm going to say is, like the great Ray Parker Jr. used to say, hot stuff, hot stuff. It's going to be hot down there in Tallahassee. The days of that offense that struggle, it's going to come back to the days. Let me throw a couple of more names out there. Ward Dunn, Travis Minor, Javon Walker. You got a coach in Mike Norvell out of the 901, my home city. And they averaged almost 40 points a game when he was there 4 years. This is a guy that loves offensive football, and he loves big plays. All you have to say is look at his track record. Anthony Miller with the Chicago Bears. Tony Pollard biking up to Ezekiel Elliott in Dallas. Darrell Henderson out there with the LA Rams. Antonio Gibson, who's going to put on a show with the Washington Redskins. Hey, man, I love it. And why I love it? Because Florida State is going to be back on the map. And you know what? One of our guys here, the 100 yards of football, the legend, he going to be happy. And it's going to make us very successful. After Saturday, all you people that died at Florida State, watch me real closely. Have a great day. God bless. We are 100 yards of football.